You ready to do this, Matt?
I'm ready to do this, Spence. Punch it, Chewie.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Matt Shaw.
Hello, everybody.
We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 139. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on our website, fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Matt, how are you?
I am doing real well. How are you?
I am doing well, and I want to take this opportunity to officially welcome you as the new co-host of the Fortress of Nerditude podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm imagining applause right now.
Lots and lots of applause. It was a rigorous vetting process. I had you fill out a bunch of forms in triplicate. You had a credit check. We did a background federal check to make sure you weren't a criminal. Your wife had to vouch for you to my wife. We had to compare notes. I'm glad you made it through the first couple rounds, and then you made it past the interview process. So
yeah,
I'm glad it worked out.
I'm happy to be here. That was a tough process, but yeah, it certainly wasn't a text message.
No. Definitely not a text message.
That's not professional enough for us.
No. Matter of fact, that's the way I asked Breed out on our first date. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
I asked out Breed on our first date through a text message. We'd been hanging out a little while, and I texted her, and then her response, she immediately responded back. She's like, "Are you really asking me out on a date through a text message?" I said, "Well, if you just didn't want to go, you could have just said no. You didn't have to be rude. I'll just move on."
Yeah.
And then she texts me back. She's like, "No, of course I'll go. It's really lame." And yeah, okay, maybe, but we're also the age of communication. We're like, ain't no one got time to be face to face when I can text.
True. It's true.
Plus, you're in Texas, so that would make face to face a little harder.
Well, you get what you get. Where are you located? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. Very, very true. So, what's going on? What's happening? What's new in your world?
There's actually quite a few things. So, one of the big things that you'll be happy to hear this, I think, on Amazon Prime Day. Oh, dang it. I was waiting for you to say I went to Austin and I got barbecue. No, not yet. Not yet. That's on the docket. My dad and I actually talked about this last week, ironically.
Really?
Anyway.
Talk to me about that later.
The probably most exciting part of my week is on Prime Day, I picked up a PlayStation. And
really?
In anticipation of the Star Wars game coming out, I knew that I had to get it. I knew I didn't have an option when I saw the gameplay for that. I can't. I had to get it. And so I've been waiting for a deal for the last probably month or two.
Did you get the bundle that had Spider-Man and
Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon Zero Dawn, is that what you got?
I did. I got the Pro too, so
nice.
It's extra beautiful on the 4K HDR. So there's been a lot of PlayStationing, which is completely out of my norm and out of my wheelhouse. But it's been a lot of fun. My brother's got Red Dead Redemption 2, so he let me borrow that. So I've been sucked into the Wild West as of late.
Nice. Okay, so after the podcast, let's talk. You'll have to send me your PSN name.
Yeah.
And we'll become friends on the PlayStation Network. And then we can play some stuff together, man.
Yeah, I'm in, dude. I'm in. So that was exciting and different and new. And that's been fun. Let's see.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
I knew you'd be happy about that. I just knew you would.
Yeah. And we get you on that old Apex Legends here before too long.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. We'll see, but
gosh, I'm just like, hold on, I got to take this in. There's so many great games that I'm gonna want you to play and want to like experience vicariously through you, like The Last of Us. Oh
yeah,
my
brother
gosh,
loves that game too.
That game And it's one of those things where like people will tell you that.
Yeah.
And then when you play it and experience, like you're just going to want to talk about it. You're going to want to talk about it. Anyone that's games. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, most of the time when you have that experience with a game, people are like, yeah, welcome to the party, pal. Like, you know, it's taking you long enough. Except with The Last of Us. Everyone's face, every time I've seen this happen, they just like light up. They're like, oh, you're loving it? That's so great. And they want to, you know, like, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm excited to play it. I am. And that's the advantage of getting in the game late, I guess, is all the games are already out. So
yeah,
I can just I get the cream of the crop. I don't need to weed anything out. I have time, but not a ton. And so this makes it easy for me to be able to just pick up and play through the games that are most, I don't know, important to me, like Spider-Man and Red Dead. Those are two games I knew I had to play.
Yep.
Horizon Zero Dawn just kind of came with it.
Which, man, I've heard great things about that game, and I want to get into it. Yeah.
It looks beautiful. I played the first, hour or two, and it's a great looking game. But anyway, so that was my big exciting thing from this last week. It was a lot of fun. My brother was in town with his family, so we went to Schlitterbahn, which is an awesome water park here it's outside of San Antonio in New Braunfels. They claim the best water park in the world. Schlitterbahn
and New Braunfels.
Schlitterbahn.
It sounds like German. Okay.
Yeah, New Braunfels is all German. So Schlitterbahn's a big deal here. It's a really great water park. It gets hot here, so it's super duper busy during the summers, and it's a lot of fun. Cool. So that was cool. And I'm converting. I don't know if you can tell, but my office is being converted into our theater room. So
really,
my father has a home theater setup system and all that jazz. And when they moved here, it's still set up, but there wasn't a ton of room. And so he offered 2 of his theater chairs to me. They're nice, big puffy theater chairs with the electronic, buzz yourself up and down and USB cables and all that stuff. So we robbed 2 of those from them. I moved one of the big TVs into the office and bought a sound bar, and now we're cooking. We're cooking. Got my PlayStation and Nintendo Switch and other toys. So that's been, it's been a party kind of, to be honest. It's been a party. It's been great.
But sounds good. Man.
Those are the highlights.
Nice.
And they're good highlights. How was yours? What'd you do? What happened?
Oh, so a week ago, I don't know if you heard this or not, but a week ago, roughly, I decided to start streaming PlayStation 4 on Twitch. And I decided I'm gonna stream some, and I'm gonna do the thing and see if I like it. Well, I've been loving it, and so one of the things on Twitch is that you want to work your way up to the affiliate status. That basically means you've streamed on 7 different unique days. You are averaging at least 3 viewers per stream. You've streamed at least over 8 hours, and you have a follower count of over 50. And once you do that, Twitch invites you to become an affiliate. And basically what that does is that opens up the opportunity for people to basically gift you what are called bits, but they translate into money. And basically 1 bit is a penny.
Gotcha.
And I hit my affiliate status in 7 days. And so like on the 8th day, I got the email. And I feel super humbled and blessed. I have a lot of good friends and people that are already on Twitch that, we're kind of spreading the word and getting people to help me get my follower count going. And the first couple days I streamed some Apex Legends, and I'm not really great at Apex Legends, and I was struggling to keep 3 people watching.
Yeah.
Then I decided that I haven't played Marvel's Spider-Man yet, and I've been wanting to play it for a while, so I said, okay, I'm going to stream that. And I'm starting around 8 o'clock once the boys are down, and I'm going to stream till roughly about midnight. And I started streaming that in the first night. I had like 8 people watching it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. And then on the second night, I was up around between 20 and 25 people a night.
What?
And then on the third night, it was about the same. It was like around 18 to 22
awesome
people watching. And people were dropping in and chatting with me and interacting. And I think a big part of the draw for a lot of people is a lot of people that are watching me have already played Spider-Man. They know what's coming. They know the game. But they're interested to see me play because I've never seen it. And so there was this death that takes place probably within the first maybe 4 or 5 hours of the game. And like I went back and I rewatched it because I was kind of looking for something that I wanted to try to clip out and save as like a little highlight. And man, like I was laughing at myself. I was like, man, I'm really getting like reactionary to this thing, to this death. And I didn't think I would, but I totally was. And people were messaging saying, it's just awesome watching you experience this for the first time. It's kind of like I was telling you with The Last of Us.
Right.
Like if you were streaming The Last of Us, you playing that, like I totally would watch that because watching someone else experience that joy of that game for the first time, like I get. So I'm an affiliate on Twitch and I'm going to be streaming Tuesday through Friday nights regularly between 8 and midnight Mountain Standard Time. And then maybe some on the weekends, but that just all kind of depends on, my schedule, family stuff going on, if there's time, availability, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stream Spider-Man straight through. And then after that, I think what I may do is I may give the people that are watching the stream a couple choices and say, I haven't played this game, or this game. I have these games. What do you want to see me play? And take a little poll and see what happens. And then because all the games will be games that I would want to play anyway.
Yeah. And
then let the people watching choose, and then I'll go and play that.
Very cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really I do really feel very humbled and very blessed. I mean, to say that I hit it like in the shortest amount of time you possibly can hit the affiliate status was pretty awesome. So
that's great.
And I made $1.60 already.
Heck,
so
freaking yeah.
I mean, look out.
Dollar menu, dude.
Which, I mean, obviously I'm not doing it to make money, but right. I'm just doing it to have fun and to interact with people while I'm playing, and it's a good time. Yeah.
That's way cool.
Let's see what else. Stranger Things 3, Breed and I think have 2 episodes left. I know, like, you're going to wonder, like, how is this possible? And it's just in-laws in town over the 4th of July weekend, and then busy, and then Breeda's gone right now. She just left to go to girls' camp, so she's... for the super friends that may not know, in our church that we go to, Brita works with the young girls, the young women, and so she's going to be gone for like 2-3 days. They're going up to this camp thing, and they have all these activities and kind of like faith building experiences, and so she's going up there for a couple days, which means that I'm a bachelor with the 2 boys. And I just barely got my truck back because it had been in the shop for like 5 days trying to get the AC fixed, which thankfully it blows cold now.
Yeah.
It only took $2,100 to make that happen.
No big deal.
Oof. But, I picked them up, took them to swim lessons, got them home, got them in bed tonight. And, of course, Jackson was, kind of whining a little bit for mommy. And I was like, yeah, buddy, she's not here for 3 days. I told you this already. Mm-hmm. But... he'll make do. But anyway, I'm home by myself, and so I'm kind of holding it down here and recording a podcast tonight. And it's going to be a busy couple of days, but it's going to be fun. Like, I'm just going to have some time just with me and the boys. And every time that happens, I try to take the opportunity to like do something different or something special. So I think on Wednesday, the day before the podcast releases, I think I'm going to take the boys to a splash pad in the morning because we have the day off. It's a state holiday, Pioneer Day. And so I'm going to take them to a splash pad and let them do that and kind of enjoy that. Other than that, I had some family in town over the weekend. I made some pulled pork, and I tried this jalapeno bacon rub on it. And wow, that was good.
Sounds good.
I was anticipating the jalapeno to be a little stronger than it was, based on like a garlic jalapeno I tried on some ribs a while ago. But the bacon The bacon jalapeno was not as strong, but it did have a really good flavor with just a little hint of a kick at the very, very, very end of each bite. So, yeah, a little barbecue, playing some video games, kind of the bachelor life, and almost done with Stranger Things. That's kind of been my week in a nutshell. It's been crazy. Right. It'll be crazy again this week, but Oh, then by the way, I also got a permanent co-host for the podcast. So that happened too.
I hear he's good.
That's what I'm told. Yeah. So, he did make it through the vetting process. He did. Yeah. Anyway, that's my week. What do you say, Matt? Should we kill some Bothans?
Let's do it.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, we have slaughtered Bothans once again this week. What do you have for me?
So the first thing I've got is the success of Lion King, the not live action remake, the real life looking animal remake.
Yeah, photorealistic?
Yes, photorealistic even. Despite poor critic reviews, mind you. I don't know if you've looked on Rotten Tomatoes. It's sitting at
where's
a 56.
Whoa,
from critics.
Really?
Yeah, critics. But the audience score is at 89 or 90 last I checked. So
why are the critics so hard on it?
I don't know, because they're a bunch of jerks.
They need something to be angry about.
They don't love happiness or something. I'm not sure what's going on.
They were too happy with Marvel's Endgame, and so now they've got to swing another Disney project down low to counterbalance.
But guess what? No one cared because everybody went and saw it. So it's estimated to make $185 million in U.S. and Canada.
Ooh.
So it beats even Beauty and the Beast, which was a huge release, as we know, the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. This one beats it. Yeah. It's now the biggest domestic launch ever for a PG film and the highest-grossing July opening ever. That includes the Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows movies that came out in July.
Wow.
So it beat even those. So there's something to be said about what Disney's doing. People complain about the remakes, but we still go see it. So,
yeah, that is true. Did you take Emmy to go see it?
No, she loves the animated version. Even at her young age. We listen to it in the car all the time. But no, we have not taken Emmy to see a movie yet. I'm terrified of wasting all of my money and time because she's a stubborn little girl. We love her, but good grief, she's a piece of work. Yeah. Do they have like a cheaper movie nights? Around here, on Tuesday nights, they have $5 movie nights. They have baby showings at our Alamo Draft House. Okay. Alamo Draft House is the best place in the world. It's awesome. There's a couple locations in California too, I'm pretty sure, and other places in the country, but it's legit. Anyway, they have a Mom's Day Out or something like that, I think it's called, which is effectively you can bring your babies and kids and no one's going to freak out or get mad, and everyone has an understanding that this is what you get when you come to these movies. So we may take her to one of those when the time is right and we feel brave enough. Well, does she sit still for movies in your house? Yeah, she will. She's at that point now where she's entertained by most animated type movies. I think she'd like it. My boys have gotten really good now about sitting. The first couple times, that was rough. They got out of their seats. They wanted to kind of run around. But they do better now. I'll tell you a secret. Even if you don't have the Mommy's Day Out movie thing, if you go to a Disney movie at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, it's all families with kids. Right. Every single one. And so you won't get the people that'll be hey man, keep that baby quiet, or keep that kid quiet. No one's going to care because everyone else has their kids doing the same thing. So very just a little tip from a movie-going father of two crazy boys. 10 a.m. Saturday mornings. That's the time to go. All right. Good call. But yeah, it was a massive success.
Well, that's cool, man. I haven't seen it. The boys are asking to go see it, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about taking them to this one because I figure I can probably just buy it when it comes out for cheaper than it'll be to take the whole family to go see it.
Right. Or it'll come on Disney Plus anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also kind of the opinion now, it's like big movie events that I want to see in the theater, great. But like a lot of the kid movies, it's like we can just wait and we can rent them or get them when they come out because the kids are going to want to watch it 100 times in a row.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Good call.
Okay, so I have something that's really cool, and this kind of speaks to my nerdiness, and it also really speaks to kind of like the nerdiness my father instilled in me at a very early age. I love anything to do with NASA, the space program. I went to space camp when I was in 5th grade. My parents sent me, and I got out of a week of school to go down to Florida and go to Cape Canaveral. I love the space program, hands down. So this last week was the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 launch and moon landing. And CBS decided to do this thing where it live streamed its original broadcast from 50 years ago. And they live streamed the broadcast, all the news, all the commercials, everything. And they streamed basically all the way through from the build up to the launch itself, the time in between, and then, of course, the moon landing. And this was on YouTube, which is there, and you can actually still go there now, and you can watch all of it because they kind of like have it there. But this is one of those things where like it's so awesome to know that like instead of just like showing clips of the thing, like I think of like September 11th, right? When September 11th rolled around, and every year, we kind of are reminded, like, another 2 years, we're going to be celebrating or memorializing the 20th anniversary of that event.
20 years.
Seriously, that's ridiculous, right? But it's more of like they will show clips of it and they'll have things running, but not maybe like a live stream of the whole event, which I think is something that totally could be done, but that may be hard for people to watch. But the moon landing of Apollo 11 in 1969 was so monumentous. I mean, the whole world was watching, and to see this streamed was just amazing. I mean, there was, they were showing like, commercials for like toilet bowl cleaners and carpets and cheap trips on Greyhound buses. There was also like news interruptions for like updates on the Vietnam War and human interest stories about mailmen, just like all these things. And so it's this really kind of cool thing to see not only the moon landing and Walter Cronkite talking about it and, his reaction and all the events of the actual space program, but also kind of like the state of where the country was at that time and what was going on. And that's just kind of a really cool kind of like time capsule. And so if you missed that, if you didn't see it and, people didn't talk to you about it, or you didn't catch on Facebook or wherever Reddit or Twitter or whatever, it's there. Go to YouTube. You can watch that and you can totally dive in.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yep, you should. It is way, way cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, sticking to the Disney train, because I'm apparently the resident Disney guy.
Don't say that too loudly, because Brita may fight you for that.
I said guy.
Okay.
So the reports are coming out, and they're saying we've got Prince Eric cast for The Little Mermaid. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now we've got Harry Styles is supposedly going to play Prince Eric. Harry Styles of One Direction fame.
He's the guy with like the floppy dark hair, right?
Sure.
I've seen a few pictures and like maybe a carpool karaoke with James Corden. That's not my music. Well, I don't know it. So
it's actually fun music, but he was in Dunkirk as well. So you'll recognize him if you've seen Dunkirk. He was a relatively main character. A good film. I'll say
Okay.
that. Not like great or amazing, like some might say, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
It was good, though. It was good.
Worth a watch.
Definitely worth a watch.
Okay,
I mean, it's Christopher Nolan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, I mean, not that that makes it always perfect, but it makes it a must-see. So anyway, that's all they have. There's not a whole lot of information other than the reports are saying it will be Harry Styles, which is great if they're going to have him sing. I'm trying to think back on Little Mermaid and trying to remember a time where Prince Eric sings a ton. And I'm not feeling like he's got a whole lot of spotlight. He's not really in the movie singing much, if at all.
I'm trying to think if he does sing in the... Man, I mean, I've seen that movie a bunch, but I'm trying to remember if he sings.
It's been a while. I don't know that he does, but they will make him sing, I'm sure. Just, I mean, they always add new songs, new original music, which is great, and they'll have him do some song. But anyway, Prince Eric, supposedly Harry Styles. I'm cool with it.
You know, I don't care one way or another about Harry Styles. So his casting news to me isn't like something I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm super excited about. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't, you know, it just hits me and I'm just kind of like, okay. Like I don't like, I'm neither hot nor cold. I don't care one way or another.
Yeah.
Which is funny because people are all up in arms about all sorts of casting in this movie. And
yes,
and I'm still just saying, please make Terry Crews King Triton.
Oh my gosh, right? His Twitter
all I want to see.
Campaign. I'm totally into that. Anything he's in,
good.
I watch.
We rewatched Blended with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
So underrated.
It's such an underrated film. And Terry Crews has a small part in it, but oh my gosh, so funny.
So good.
So funny.
I can't get Jessie to watch that. She cannot stand Adam Sandler, and
really?
I watch almost all Adam Sandler films. I don't know if you can call them films. They're movies. It's just it's fantastic. But anyway, we don't need to go down that train. Jessie won't hop on.
You should tell her that Brita went and saw it in the theater and really liked it and came home and convinced me to watch it. Because I kind of went, another Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. And she's like, no, this is really good. And that movie is like 5 years old now. And I've probably seen it with Brita 10 times easily.
My gosh, wow.
Because it's just one of those ones where she's like, let's put this on. This is fun and it makes me laugh and it's easy to watch. And it's,
it is.
You don't have to think.
Yep, it's a good one. Love it. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, my next Rebel Intelligence item has nothing to do with Adam Sandler. Sorry.
So disappointing.
I'm not going to be able to tie it in. Dungeons and Dragons. Have you ever played D&D?
No, I have not.
Okay, so like real quick, D&D basically, it's like a video game where you have a character and you go on quests and you overcome obstacles and you can win loot. Except instead of, playing it on a video game, this was all done and designed back in the late 70s and they've continued it on, current. And so you create your character on paper and you pick and determine what you want to do. So maybe like there's a boulder, you as a player can say like, I'm going to climb over this boulder. And then the dungeon master will basically say like, well, roll a agility check. And you roll a dice. And if the dice is above a certain threshold set by the dungeon master who says like, well, to climb over a boulder that size, it's going to take X amount of skill. And if you roll higher than that, he says, yeah, you're successful. You climb up over the boulder and maybe he'll describe to you what you see over the boulder and kind of help set the world. And if you don't, you fail. And then you got to figure out something else to do to get around the boulder. Which is essentially what a lot of these role-playing video games do. It's just all the math and all the rolls and the, checks of strength and whatnot, and whether your arrow's going to hit the enemy, and for how much damage is all kind of done, behind the scenes. It's done by math and algorithms.
Right.
But Dungeons and Dragons, though, you do it on paper, you roll dice, and actually now you can play it kind of online, and some of that's automated for you. But Dungeons and Dragons has been around for a long time now, since the late 70s. But about 5 years ago, Dungeons and Dragons kind of took all the rules they had in the 4th edition and the changes they made, and because we're on to the 5th edition now. 5 years ago, Wizards of the Coast came out with the 5th edition of the rule book, which changed a bunch of things. It tried to simplify some of the really crazy rule set that was established in the 4th edition to give players more fun and more freedom to kind of create these adventures, in their mind and work together. And so 2 of the first books that they had was Hoard of the Dragon Queen and then Rise of Tiamat. And those were... You buy this book and it's a big, huge quest. It's this big adventure you go on, and Dungeons and Dragons decided for its 5th anniversary that it's combined both the Hoard of the Dragon Queen and then the Rise of Tiamat together into one big, massive adventure in one book that they're calling the Tyranny of Dragons. It's going to release in October. Really cool artwork on this thing. They've got 5 dragons on it, a green, a black, a blue, a white, and a red dragon, which each dragon has, certain abilities and whatnot and different things that it does. Like the green dragon may breathe, acid or something, and so you have to deal with that.
Right.
But it's kind of cool because it's more than simply a re-release. They're incorporating feedback to some of the rule changes that have kind of taken place since the 5th edition was released. So they smooth out some of the issues, make sure that you level at appropriate speeds, this, that, and the other. They've tweaked some addendums to it. And it's going to come out. It's got a bunch of really cool artwork, a bunch of things that were previously unavailable to the Dungeon Master for him to use online as far as resources. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons last September, so almost a year ago, kind of on and off when I've got some free time with some people and some friends online. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. It's a great time to kind of get together online and just, make up these stories and adventures and kind of go on these like little quests and, figure things out. And I'm tempted to pick this up in October when it hits, just because... I don't have the Hoard of the Dragon Queen or Rise of Tiamat, and so I can get all this together in one book and with a bunch of cool artwork. So
nice.
If you're a D&D fan, look for that in October. If you're not a D&D fan or you've never played, you should, if you're into video games or you're into role-playing games or even tabletop games of any kind, it's actually kind of worth checking out. So, it's collaborative storytelling, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, they play it, obviously, in Stranger Things.
They do.
There's part of my knowledge there. The most massive part of my knowledge about Dungeons and Dragons comes from Community.
Yep.
When they do the greatest 30 minutes of television of all time, in my opinion, it is a perfect episode of Community.
Yes, it is. I agree. And realistically, that's fairly true to actually how Dungeons and Dragons actually is.
Right.
Because Dan Harmon, the creator of Community, runs like a weekly D&D game and has for years and years and years.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So that's
cool.
That's my knowledge. A little bit in Riverdale, my most guilty of pleasures of television shows. Do not ever watch that show. It's poison programming, and I love it. That latest season had not a spoof, but an homage, because they probably can't say Dungeons and Dragons, like
gotcha.
gargoyles and ghouls or something like that. Regardless.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. Do you have anything else for Rebel Intelligence?
I'm out.
I am out as well. So, Matt, last week for the podcast, we were talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Ooh.
I know. I told Jesse, now that I'm part of the podcast, we have to make a point to see some of these movies. So.
See, there you go. Yep. There's going to be that pressure you're going to be able to apply and say, hey, you don't have to go, but I have to go for research purposes.
She'll want to go, trust me.
Yeah.
She'll want to go. Anytime to leave the kid at home. We're into it.
Fire up the babysitter's number. Yeah.
That's right.
So we had a good conversation. Mark Boucher joined me, and we talked about Spider-Man Far From Home. Super Friends, if you haven't heard that yet, and you have seen if you have seen Spider-Man Far From Home, I highly recommend going and listening to the podcast. If you haven't, you be aware there's some spoilers in there, and we let you know. But our question was, now that the Marvel Phase 3 has completely wrapped up, what are you looking forward to? What movie in Phase 4 are you looking forward to? And we got some answers, and so we're going to start like we always do over at the email address, and that's fordofnerd@gmail.com, and we have Peter Christensen. He says, Dear Nerds, I was not excited when I heard that Amazon was making a Lord of the Rings show, but I've turned the corner completely after watching Amazon's show The Man in the High Castle. It's an adaptation of a Philip K. Dick novel about a world where the Allies lost World War II, and the United States was occupied by Japan in the West and Germany in the Midwest and East. The world they've created is infuriatingly real feeling. I do not like seeing the American flag with a swastika instead of stars. And the spy, counter-spy, counter-counter-spy plot is riveting. The characters are so richly developed that I cheered when one guy survived an attack. No surprise, but this character was introduced in the series when he sent a prisoner's sister and her children to a gas chamber because he wouldn't talk. Multiple times I've yelled at the show for making me root for people as evil as Hitler and Hitler himself because that's what the situation needed. And if Amazon can make a show like that, I welcome their Middle-earth show. Spider-Man Far From Home is hard to talk about without spoilers. Some spoiler-free observations. Despite some killer action, the part that stressed me out the most was when the teacher took a selfie with his camera on the railing and he drops it in the water. From the second he put it there, I knew it was going in the water, and it pained me to watch even the second time. I totally agree, Peter. The moment that scene started, going along, I was like, he's going to put his camera there. He's going to drop it into the water. It's predictable. I know it's going to happen, but it still did make me cringe as well. I mean, it's just, it's like it's going to happen. He says, additional funny teacher moment when Edith sees people's phone screens and the other teacher is reading a book about witches. Yes, a science teacher reading about witches. He says, 2 beautifully pedantic lines that had me laughing out loud when no one else was. Happy saying, I found your friends. They're on the Tower Bridge. Your friend called it the London Bridge, but I figured it out. And give me the spear. Actually, it's a halberd. Those were 2 completely unnecessary corrections at inappropriate times that I would have also have felt the need to point out. All right. Now here's the question, Matt. Now he has a spoiler section.
Oh, boy.
You haven't seen the film.
No.
And you want to see the film.
I'm going to see it next Thursday.
I'm redacting this comment then. I will not talk about the spoilers right now. Maybe you and I will talk about his spoiler section after you've seen it.
Okay.
Needless to say, Peter Christensen gives us some spoilers, and they're completely spoilery and give away big stuff. So he says, I agree with you guys. Far From Home is a second quartile MCU movie. It would have been a Hall of Fame superhero movie pre-1998, but it doesn't hit the high notes of Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Avengers, the Infinity War Saga, or Ragnarok. The Spider-Man movies and Ant-Man movies all fit in that second tier for me, which I think is fair. And I think someone maybe said, I think it was maybe Mark Boucher last week, said Spider-Man Far From Home was really good. It hit some good emotional notes, but it also was kind of meant to be kind of a palate cleanser to kind of maybe, lay off a little bit of the heavy-handedness of the last 2 Avengers movies.
Right.
But he says, Phase 4 and beyond, which I have dutifully avoided reading rumors about, I'm looking forward to crazy space Marvel movies. So I'm going to guess that means things like Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel, or anything else space-related.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Well, thank you, Peter. We appreciate your answers. Sorry we couldn't read the spoilery part.
That's my fault. I apologize.
Dang you, Matt. Dang you. No, you're fine. So let's go over to the old Facebook, which is facebook.com/FordofNerd. We've got Caleb Albers. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the question here too, Matt.
More spoilers.
His answers doesn't have spoilers for Spider-Man, but it does have spoilers for what we're going to talk about in our discussion.
Oh. We can meld them.
Do we go ahead?
We can wait, I guess.
Caleb Albert says, redacted. Yep.
Okay.
Jason Both says, I have 2. Redacted and redacted. Dang it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So let's go over to Twitter. Okay. So, yeah. Basically, this is how this worked out, because everything on Twitter I've got to redact as well. What happened was I asked a question. What do you want to see in Phase 4? What are you most looking forward to? And there is some things in Phase 4 that we do know about that had been previously mentioned in Greenlit. Like, we know there's another Spider-Man movie coming. We know there's a Black Panther movie coming. We know there's a Black Widow coming. Mm-hmm. We know there's another Doctor Strange coming. And Guardians of the Galaxy. We kind of know those because they'd already been, somewhat announced or leaked or whatever. But this last weekend was a big event that takes place yearly in San Diego.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of details about it. So let's do this. Let's move on. And then we'll talk. And then we'll come back and we'll hit these answers kind of at the end. So that way it's not so spoilery. So, Super Friends, thanks so much for your interaction. Listen, we appreciate it. Please keep up those answers. We'll always put out the question of the week. It typically goes out on Sunday to give you a day and a half, 2 days-ish to get those answers in. You can reach us at all those places. The email, fortofnerd@gmail.com. The Facebook, which is facebook.com/fortofnerd. Twitter, @fortofnerd. We're on Instagram, fortofnerd. Also the voicemail, 801-477-7687. You can call in and leave us a message. Matt, how can the Super Friends that are out there listening every single week, week in, week out, how can they help us this week?
Okay, so here's what you can do, Super Friends. Head to iTunes, subscribe, leave a review. It's the lifeblood of the podcast, reviews and comments and questions and all the interactions we have with all y'all. So please steal your friend's phone, steal their computer. I mean, it's worth a lot of money, but give it back after you're done, obviously. But subscribe, find us however you can, and subscribe to whatever service you choose to use.
Yeah, that works. All the above. I get the phone thing, like, taking someone's phone and like secretly subscribing to the podcast.
Sure.
And in hopes that, maybe then they listen. They're like, oh, this is what I've been looking for in my life.
Of course.
Stealing the computer, Matt. That's a step up.
Go
man.
Full bore, man.
Yeah, you're getting committed. I like it.
Go big or go home, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so Matt, big conference happens in San Diego yearly. This is San Diego Comic Con, the granddaddy of kind of nerd pop culture that happens usually middle to end of July. Which is why we couldn't read a lot of answers, because then we would be kind of spoiling ourselves. So let's talk about Comic-Con. Are you a big Comic-Con guy? Like when this happens, like, are you watching it live? Are you just kind of like reading it after? Are you looking at the highlights on Reddit? What are you doing?
I'm checking websites. That's kind of where my interest lies. I don't watch anything live. If there's something I know that's like a big panel that's going to happen that I know I want to be a part of, I'll try to live stream it or find a way to tune in. But mostly it's checking websites like IGN and refreshing and waiting for them to tell me what happened. That's typically how it goes. So over the last 4 or 5 days, that's what I was doing, was refreshing.
Yeah, Comic-Con's huge. I've said year in and year out for a long time now that I really want to go to Comic-Con, and I would love to get down there and, because of the podcast, see if we could get credentialed as press so we could get access to some of that stuff and, be able to maybe do some interviews and whatnot.
Right.
But I keep saying that year in and year out, and this year was no different, Super Friends. I would have loved to have gone, but like I said, busy and things going on, and they're not exactly cheap tickets, so getting updated online is kind of the second best thing that you can do. So there was a lot of things that were talked about. And so we thought we'd talk about some of the bigger things, the things that we found interesting, and kind of discuss them. So where do you want to start, Matt? Like, of all the things,
there's
where do
one
you want
place to
go?
start, and it's Cats.
Cats.
You've got to start with Cats the movie. What the heck was that?
That is so weird looking.
So uncomfortable.
I mean, if they would have said Thunder Cats, I would have been all over it.
Interesting. Yeah, but no, it's just
Cats.
cats, and it's as strange as you think it might be.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
worse. It's worse.
Yeah, no offense to people who enjoy the long-standing running musical, You Do You, and Cats Are Cool, and no judgments here. Obviously, this is a safe space. However, in my opinion, that movie trailer was freaking strange, and it made me feel things I don't think God wanted me to feel. So I was creeped the heck out. But anyway, as a joke, that's where we'll start. That was weird.
Wow.
But my
That
real
was
favorite thing,
very
probably
weird.
my real favorite thing, outside of some of the Marvel stuff, which is always interesting, it was kind of like bang, 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 bang. I loved the announcement and trailer for Top Gun. I'm super stoked for that movie. That looks really cool.
I missed that one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Tom Cruise came out on stage. Conan was doing Conan.
Uh-huh.
And I got a surprise. Tom Cruise came out. He talked about a film I did 20 years ago. Blah, blah, blah. And everybody knew what it was. And then they showed the trailer and it looks sick.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I did not catch that one. I'm going to have to go watch that now tonight. Did they give you any idea from the trailer, like maybe kind of what the story's going to be or anything? Or is it one of those trailers where it's like a lot of action, a couple, quippy lines, and then it's over?
There's not a ton of story, but there is a little bit. He's still the same. And he's still like only a captain. And he's kind of like, he just likes to fly.
Okay.
And there's no progression in like rank advancement within, the military or anything. And he's just doing his thing. But they show him in the plane. He's not going to be like on the sidelines. He's not going to not be a main character. It's Tom Cruise in a freaking fighter jet flying really fast and blowing ish up.
So this isn't like Tom Cruise passing the baton to like a young Robert
It doesn't
Pattinson.
look like it. It's called Maverick. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm into it. I'm into Tom Cruise though. I mean, most things he does, I'm excited about.
No, yeah, I
Especially
enjoy
this.
most movies he does, and Tom Cruise and Top Gun is like a quintessential 80s movie.
Oh yeah.
I was 7 when that movie came out, and that I remember that movie vividly from my childhood.
Yeah.
So I love it, man. I missed that. No, I'm gonna have to go and look, because of course there's so much that happens during Comic Con. Like I was just scrolling through stuff and I was like, oh, I didn't see this or I didn't see that, and well, dang it, that looks good. Okay, so you're saying that looks good. You're saying
Looks
I need
way
to check
cool.
that out.
You need to check it out. Looks cool.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to take a look. One of the things I saw that I really, really loved is that I'm a big Star Trek fan. And I know you haven't seen Star Trek Discovery, and so I don't want to get into a lot of the Discovery stuff, because they did talk some about Star Trek Discovery, but they also talked about this show called Star Trek Lower Decks, which is going to be like some animated movie or animated show that's going to have Star Trek characters that kind of like, work in engineering and, do a bunch of other stuff, not necessarily like the bridge crew.
Right.
And it's going to be on this, new ship. It's going to be a USS Cerritos, which is a California class ship, which I saw is funny because I lived in Cerritos, California for a while. And so I was like, oh, Cerritos, like California. And then I kept reading, it's like a California, a class ship. And I was like, and that's a new version of a class ship. And whoever's writing this show is from Cerritos, California.
Right.
But they did release the trailer for the new Picard show, which is called just Picard. And it looks really good. They're bringing back Brent Spiner to play Data on the show. Cool. Also, we're going to get, what's her name? Jerry Ryan, who played Seven of Nine from Voyager. Also, we're going to get Hugh the Borg, who was in some episodes of Next Generation. And they've also confirmed that Will Riker and Deanna Troi, yes, Jonathan Frakes and Marina Satiris, are going to be reprising their roles. I don't know if they're going to be full cast members, but they're going to be there. And then, of course, there's some new players. They're going to be involved. Some names that I recognize, some other names I don't, that'll help kind of fill out the crew. But it looks good. It looks like this show is going to take events that took place in the movies and kind of like take things down the road a little bit in those timelines. And for some reason, like whatever Jean-Luc Picard is trying to do, bottling grapes and making wine in his vineyard in France, like something's going to draw him back to space, or he's just not, he's trying to be someone who he's not, and he's really an explorer, and they're going to bring him back. I love Patrick Stewart. This thing has me like gripped in anticipation, and it comes out later this year.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, I don't know. Are you a big Star Wars guy or Star Trek guy? Did you ever watch Next Generation?
No. Just the answer is always no for Star Trek. Not because I don't like it, just because I never tried it.
Yeah.
I just never tried it.
Next Generation probably is the best series, especially of the. I mean, I don't know. Discovery still is doing pretty well. I mean, that may be pretty high up there now, but Next Generation is kind of, I think, the gold standard when it comes to Star Trek series.
Yeah, right.
And Patrick Stewart as the captain of that ship was just phenomenal. A lot of weight, a lot of gravitas to the role, and there's never a time where you don't want him to succeed. You always are on his side, and no matter what's going on. And the fact that they're bringing him back, like, 20-ish, 30 years after his series went off the air, and he's going to reprise that role. That's cool. I'm all over this thing.
That's cool.
All over.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
So, anyway, that's exciting. That's one of the big things I'm looking forward to. What else? What do you got else? What else caught your attention?
Well, what caught the attention of my household was Veronica Mars being surprise dropped during Comic Con at the panel or after the panel or something like that. Because
I heard about this.
My wife's a big fan of the Veronica Mars series and movie, and now they're coming out with season 4 after 10 years or whatever off the air, and Kristen Bell's back and apparently all the other characters. So that's been the event in my house. So I've been by myself the last few nights just hanging out.
But you do have that
playing
new
my PlayStation
4. Yeah.
Which I'm not going to complain about. But so that was one of the big things, probably the biggest thing that impacted us at the Shaw homestead here.
That's
other than cats, obviously.
Well, yeah, that cats thing.
Yeah,
I mean, that had an impact, for sure.
Big time.
Did Jessie see the cats thing?
Oh yeah.
What did she think?
She's disgusted.
Okay, good. I was to say, if she was into that, like,
no.
I mean, you may have to file for divorce. I mean, that's bad.
Never happened. Never would.
One of the things I kind of got excited for, there's a game out there called The Witcher. It's actually The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And I have not played this game. I own this game for PS4. Mm-hmm. I got it used for a really good deal. And I've been told I need to play it, and it looks great. I actually maybe played the first hour of it or so. I just kind of got distracted with some other things and then forgot about it. But there's a new series called The Witcher based off of the books, not the video games. So there was an author who wrote a bunch of books, and then they based video games off those books.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing a Netflix show based off the books, which is starring Henry Cavill as the lead character of Geralt of Rivia. And they showed this trailer. It has everything that looks like, sword and sorcery. I mean, it looks like there's some sort of magic system, and there's witches, and you've got, big long blades. And I mean, I'm rereading right now or re-listening on Audible, The Wheel of Time. and he just kind of reminds me of one of the characters in that series, where he looks stoic and he's carrying this stuff around, and like, you know, he's the man. But if you haven't seen this teaser trailer, you should definitely go watch it. If you've played the Witcher series, I definitely think it's worth watching. But I did read that everyone that made this show really was nervous that it wasn't going to live up to the books, because they're trying to do it very accurate to some of the stories from some of the books. But it's going to hit later this year on Netflix. I know this is going to be something I'm going to be just, you know, binge watching for sure. But yeah, The Witcher, man, it looks good.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, my brother's big into The Witcher 3. That was like one of the games he wants me to play really bad. But it's coming to Switch, and I always prefer to play my games on Switch. I know that that's a graphical downgrade, but that's how I roll.
Well, the other thing is too is a game like The Witcher is going to be a long game. Like, you could easily probably sink 100 hours into it. So if you can play your Switch in bed at night, or when you travel or go somewhere, like, the ability to be portable with that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, big deal.
So, yep, The Witcher. Go watch that when it comes to Netflix. And the other thing is, Matt, you're going to be able to watch that and not spoil the video game. So
That's
there
true.
you go.
That's true.
There you
I'm
go.
all about avoiding spoilers.
What else caught your eye?
Oh man, let me think. The other thing that I thought was cool, I haven't even seen the first one. The trailer for the second portion of It.
You're talking like Pennywise, the scary clown.
Movie?
Yeah,
that looks cool.
No,
I didn't see the first one.
No.
Oh man,
I'm not getting anywhere near that crap.
Oh my gosh, I love scary movies.
I love suspenseful movies, thrillers. I hate horror. I hate horror.
I like horror. I like it. I don't like it when it's too scary. So there's quite a few that I avoid. But like fun scary, you know. Typically PG-13 scary is about as scary as I want. When you get into R scary, it gets like too scary for me to sleep type of stuff. I'm not interested. Like
Stranger Things is okay. But like you start getting too much more realistic, and it's like, man, I need to sleep sometime in the next couple days.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But that was kind of I'm trying to think of anything else, and the rest of it's just kind of this Marvel announcements were cool.
Yeah, there was a trailer that was dropped for the Watchmen series that's on HBO. Obviously, The Watchmen was a graphic novel,
right?
And then it was, also made into a movie, and now it's going to.
So.
Yeah. It was. There was a movie. I've seen it, which is weird because Brita was in a book club, and one of the ladies in her book club picked The Watchmen, the graphic novel, and so I actually have The Watchmen on the shelf back here behind me because Brita had it for a book club or whatever a number of years ago. It's definitely a graphic novel. Like it's definitely adult. It's not your typical, Spider-Man, Batman sort of deal. But they dropped a new trailer. It's coming to HBO. It looks pretty cool. Looks like they're going to do some different stuff, that they didn't do in the movie and stay away from some of the movie stuff. So if you're into The Watchmen, go check that trailer out. Like that's out there. So
cool.
Something to get excited for. Okay. Let's talk about the big one. The biggest event that seems to be just dominates Comic Con every year now. Marvel's Hall H extravaganza.
Yep.
So, my count, there was 11 things that they previewed there. 11. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
So let's kind of go over it. They talked about two things. They talked about movies that they released names for and dates. And then they also did release some names and dates of some of their Marvel or Disney Plus shows. So, in the movies, we've got I'm trying to go through this here because we have some timelines. We got the Black Widow movie that was confirmed, which we already knew there was a Black Widow movie.
Yep.
But it's a release date of May 1st, 2020. And that's going to be the first movie in Phase 4. So we're not going to be getting anything else in the Marvel MCU movies this year. May 1st, Black Widow. Then November 5th of next year, 2020, we get the Eternals. And the Black Widow movie we kind of know is going to be an origin story. It's going to kind of go back in time. But the Eternals is kind of something different. So the Eternals is kind of like, how to describe this? They're kind of like the old like Greek gods, except their names are slightly changed somewhat. And they've got some like other-ish powers. But they did name off some of the cast. So first right off the bat, we're getting Angelina Jolie in this movie.
Yeah.
She's a big name. She's a big get. She's playing Thena, which is based off the Greek goddess Athena. She's joined by Selma Hayek, who's Ajax, the leader of the Eternals. Richard Madden, or as you may know him, Robb Stark, playing Icarus, based on Icarus. Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo Sunan. Brian Tyree Henry as Phastos, based on Hephaestus. Leah McHugh as Sprite. Don Lee as Gilgamesh, also known as the Forgotten One in the comics. And Lauren Ridloff as Makari. And so that movie's going to start shooting in another month. That's November 5th, 2020. So Black Widow or the Eternals, if you're picking between the two, which one of those are you going to go see?
The Eternals.
Obviously I would go see both, and I will see both.
I will, yeah.
Yeah. But the Eternals is something new.
Yeah.
Like Black Widow's kind of an established character from Phase 1, 2, and 3 that we've seen her in. And this movie's kind of going back in time. I mean, it is also going to have Rachel Weisz and David Harbour. And so those are another, two good reasons to go see it. But it's kind of an origin story. And at this point, I think we're like way past kind of needing an origin story for Black Widow.
Yeah.
I feel like we got enough, but Eternals looks really good.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. February 12th of 2021, we get Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. I think, Matt, you and I were talking, this is the one that's being done with an all-Asian cast. And it's going to be, something to do with, kind of like this Shang-Chi's. Yeah, it's like Kung Fu, like he's a Kung Fu master.
Right.
Something like that. That's kind of all that we really know for this film. But they did say that Shang-Chi's going to be battling the Mandarin. Oh. Not the Mandarin that we saw in Iron Man 3 that wasn't really the Mandarin.
Yeah.
But he's going to be battling the real Mandarin. So
that's
we kind of have a pseudo known villain already in this one. And then May 7th, 2021, so only a couple months after, 2021, we actually get 3 movies. Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. Then May 7th, 2021, we get Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I'm excited for this one.
I'm so excited for this one, because when you saw this one, what was your first thought?
Well, I was confused by the title.
Yep.
And then I read the quote that says it's going to be scary. And then I was like, yes, this is the Marvel movie I didn't know that I wanted.
Yeah, because the first Doctor Strange is not like a horror suspense movie at all.
No.
But they're saying that they're going to make this one
the first scary Marvel.
The first scary Marvel. And I went, ooh, like I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with this.
Yeah.
They're also saying that Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch, is going to heavily tie into this film. So I don't know if that means other projects she's involved in will tie into this, or if she's going to be in this. But it looks cool. Also, the multiverse idea was kind of introduced in Endgame and also talked about in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right.
Which was in the trailer, so I'm not really spoiling anything for you. Okay, just trying to make sure you're not like, I'm going to kill you after the podcast.
We're good.
So there's some cool things there. That's going to bring in some really cool things. But then the last one that they announced with a specific date is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
So this is obviously Thor 4. Here's the really interesting part. So they came out there, Chris Hemsworth showed up, Tessa Thompson showed up, and she basically says, like, now that she's the king, she's going to have to find her queen. And, that kind of set the internet on fire because originally when they showed her in Ragnarok, they thought her character was kind of supposed to be kind of an LGBTQ type of character. But then it looked like a lot of that kind of storyline kind of got left on the cutting room floor. Yeah. And it appears that's not going to be the case in this one. So that seems interesting and unique for Marvel. It's something they haven't really explored yet. Right. But then there's something else that was announced, a twist. Natalie Portman showed up. And Taika Waititi, the director of Thor 4 and the director of Thor Ragnarok, handed her Mjolnir, and she took that. She is reprising her role as Jane Foster in the MCU, which blew me away because I was under the impression
she hated them or something.
She hated it, and she didn't want anything else to do with it.
Yeah.
But she's coming back, and she is going to be Lady Thor. She is going to take on the mantle of Thor in this movie, which is really exciting to me because I don't know what that means for Chris Hemsworth's Thor. Totally. I don't, because we know the last time we saw him in Endgame, he's taking off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, a group, and we know that there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, which I think they said is going to be called As Guardians of the Galaxy, which... The internet's been talking about that forever, but it looked like, I thought I saw something that looked official that said they're going to be calling it As Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Which, oh my gosh, please do that.
I hope so. I mean, people will probably be mad, but everybody gets mad about everything, so. Yep. I would be fine.
So those were the ones that they officially announced. They officially got names, dates, but then they said, coming up after that, we do have Black Panther 2. Kevin Feige said this, which is not a big surprise. We knew that was coming. Yep. He says Guardians 3 is coming. Yep. He said Captain Marvel 2 is coming. Mm-hmm. And then he said something that really got my interest. He says Fantastic Four is coming.
Here we go again.
And I went, yes, finally, the Fantastic Four in the MCU, a chance to do this right finally. I mean, the Fantastic Four is literally the first family of the Marvel household. Yeah. And it was done by Sony, or it was done by Fox. Yep. Like 3 movies that just were not good. And so that was really, 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 really exciting for me. But that also, Matt, to me says, okay, if we're getting Fantastic Four, we can bring that in, but that means that for sure, if we're talking about doing them in Phase 4, what's stopping Disney and Marvel from bringing X-Men into Phase 4, maybe towards the end of Phase 4?
There's nothing stopping them. Yeah.
Nothing. So that was big, and I thought that was going to be the last kind of big announcement. Nope. Then they dropped another one in the movies. They said they are going to do a Blade movie. Now, if you know anything about Blade, Blade is a half vampire, half human, which allows him to walk in the daylight, and he hunts down vampires. The character's been around in the comics for a long time. there was like 3 Wesley Snipe Blade movies that were done years and years and years ago, which all actually were pretty decent movies and helped prove that there was a market for comic book movies that weren't the typical traditional, Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, Superman, Batman type.
Right.
So, I mean, really, there is a lot of credit due to those movies and to Wesley Snipes. But I was not expecting Blade. I was not anticipating we were going to get Blade in the MCU. I figured that was going to be one that they just kind of moved on from and just never went back to.
Right.
Did you ever see the old Wesley Snipes Blade movies at all?
No, I know of them.
Yeah.
You're giving me information that I didn't have prior.
If you
half human, half vampire sounds freaking awesome.
He's called a daywalker.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, daywalker.
If you like kind of like the scary, suspenseful stuff,
yeah,
and you like the comic movies, you should go check out those Blade movies.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't maybe watch them with Emmy, but
she's pretty tough.
Yeah,
not that.
So
tough.
We got the movies, but then we also got TV show announcements, Matt.
Right.
I'm almost just as excited for the TV show, Disney Plus show announcements as I am the movies.
I agree. I might be more excited for at least 1 or 2 of these.
Okay, so you tell me which ones that you were excited to hear announced.
Well, I knew of these already, but I am excited for Loki. He is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. There's something, I don't know. I think it's the mystery about him that just draws me in.
Plus,
like,
Tom
Hiddleston. Is he good? Is he bad? Yeah, Tom Hiddleston. I mean,
Tom Hiddleston is
who doesn't
amazing.
love that man? It'll be it's going to be fun to see. I don't know, like a whole TV show. Mm-hmm. I imagine at least 8 episodes at like 45 minutes each. Right. That's kind of the series length these days about Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one I already knew about. I would think most people knew that was coming, but confirmed for spring of 2021.
Yeah.
And it's going to apparently focused on Loki, the Loki who stole the Tesseract in Endgame when they screwed that whole bit up.
Yeah.
So
which
it'll be fun.
I think was done on purpose. That way they could have ways with the time travel-y stuff.
Resurrecting him.
Yeah.
He died in Infinity War. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. And the other one that I'm really surprisingly stoked about, is What If.
Ooh,
and at first I wasn't that excited because this is an animated series. And I believe it kind of explores like different versions of things that we already knew about if they went a different way. So that's kind of the what if. What if?
Well, that's kind of like the Man in the High Castle that Peter Christensen was talking about, right?
Different than a reality that we understand to be true. And so this is cool because like everyone's coming back from what I understand and is voicing the characters.
That's cool.
And that's what got me like especially excited. Was we're getting a lot of the cast back, if not everyone. I was reading one article and it was like it like named everybody that's a main character or any version of main character except for maybe Robert Downey Jr. But the rest of them were all there. Chris Hemsworth and Benedict Cumberbatch, all those guys are. I mean, that made it exciting. I'm usually not one for animated series. It's not really my thing, but it's cool that they can get everybody. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. When I first heard about it and I heard the name What If without any details, I went, please don't be like, what if Hulk fought, Iron Man? Who would win? Because it's like comic nerds, we talk about those things.
Right.
And whatnot, but like you wouldn't want to watch a show, but like I do like the alternate reality of like, what if this never happened? What if Howard Stark was never killed? What if, how would that change things? That concept, I think, is really freaking cool. There's some great stories you could explore.
Yep, I'm excited for that one. It's going to be cool.
So I really liked the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, we've kind of known that's coming too, but we did find out a little more that it's going to be Baron Zemo is going to be the villain, and it's going to premiere fall of 2020.
Yep.
So that's cool.
And it's called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's no Captain America reference in the title at all.
Right.
Even though the shield is still part of the logo that they showed.
Right, and we know that Anthony Mackie, I think, is going to be taking up the mantle of Captain America.
But not the title?
I don't know, but I'm glad
not.
they're calling it Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah,
I think it would cause brand confusion anyway if they called it Captain America. People who weren't totally
Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, good, Chris Evans is back. I love him. He's so cute."
We love that movie. No, it's a
that
show.
too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
WandaVision.
Terrible title.
Terrible title, right?
I hate that title. Gosh, it's bad.
It makes me think of Mike TV from the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. WonkaVision. Look, Mom, I'm on TV.
Yeah, he was an annoying little jerk.
Yeah, from Miles City, Montana. Go figure.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that what that was? I haven't watched that movie probably since I heard of Miles City, but now we drive through it anyway.
I know. So when we drive through there, I was like, Miles City, Montana. Why is that familiar? And Brita just couldn't figure out. And then I went, wait a minute. That's where that Mike TV character is from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
What are the odds? Anyway.
Yeah. So WandaVision, like we said, horrible title.
Yeah.
It's supposed to kind of explore like Scarlet Witch and kind of like what it was like for her to lose Vision, her boyfriend, and have been dusted for 5 years and coming back. And like, that's kind of all we know about that. We also know that the little girl that played Monica Rambeau in Captain Marvel, she's going to be grown up and older in this. It's going to premiere in spring of 2021. I'm not actually sold on this one.
No, I couldn't care less so far.
Now, the only thing that is interesting to me about this is that her character is going to tie in strongly to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So, because of that reason and that reason alone, I'll probably watch this. And honestly, if I'm going back when Marvel was doing the Netflix shows, and they were like Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
I had no interest in. I wanted to see Daredevil, but I had no interest in Jessica Jones. And then I watched a trailer for it, and then I watched that first season, and I was blown away by how good it was. And so this is one where I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm not really super interested in it, but I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna put my faith in Marvel because they have not done me wrong yet.
Right.
And hopefully that continues to be the case.
Yeah, I hope so. I agree.
So, other than that, they did talk about a Hawkeye series. It's animated. It's focusing on Hawkeye with Jeremy Renner training Kate Bishop to be like the new Hawkeye. I've heard they also may explore some of his time when he was Ronin in this thing.
Huh.
It's going to come fall of 2021. That's a character, though, I've never really cared about.
Right.
In any of the movies.
Yeah.
And not that Jeremy Renner's bad, but I just don't think that there was a lot written in the script that made you really care for him all that much. So,
I mean, not till Endgame.
Even in Endgame, though,
I
wasn't super into it. I was just kind of like, okay, I guess.
Oh man.
La-di-da. So
I like him. I like him. He's not my favorite character, but I like Jeremy Renner a lot, and I think he's kind of a cool dude.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that I care. I did not know that it was animated. I didn't read that far until you just said it, and now I'm like, oh, this got way less interesting. Unless they have a cool art style. I mean, all of these will be dependent upon the art style they choose, and if it looks, I don't know, super cartoony, or if it looks more like something unique, Star Wars Rebels or...
What's interesting, though, about this, Matt, is we only have dates for the next 2 years.
Right.
In the past, we've got timelines that had like movies like 3, 4, 5 years out.
Mm-hmm.
We only got the next 2 years. So we don't have a date for Guardians 3. We don't have a date for Spider-Man 3. We don't have a date for Black Panther 2. Just, some names and, but still, a big, huge Hall H extravaganza from Marvel. I mean, they trotted out star after star after star and gave us a bunch of names. And I mean, they did drop 11 new shows and titles. Yeah. I wish they would have talked a little more about Disney Plus. I mean, we know how much it costs. We know when it comes out, but like, tell us like where we can sign up ahead of time. Like, we're only a few months away.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're saving most of that for D23, which is next month. Yeah. I think that's when Disney's going to pull out all the stops on Disney Plus, and my Disney stock will rise yet again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. So let's rewind a little bit and let's go back to some of those answers. So back on the Fortress of Nerditude page on Facebook, Caleb Albert says, now that it's been announced, I'm super pumped up for Blade. He's not one of my favorite heroes, but I love his backstory and think the MCU can do amazing things with him. I see him either being their first rated R movie or going really dark with him. Either way, I'm super excited. My first pick would have been Fantastic Four, but since we didn't get anything other than a confirmation for it, and with how much of a surprise Blade was, I'm going Blade.
Cool.
So I kind of agree that like I think that's a real good pick. I don't know if they're going to make Blade R. I mean, the Blade 3 movies that did come out were R, I believe. Maybe they're PG-13. No, I'm pretty sure they were R or PG-13. One or two.
I don't see Marvel ever doing R with the amount of success they've had.
That's what I thought too. However, the 2 Deadpool movies were both R, and they were owned by Fox. That's true. And now they're owned by Marvel. And from what I hear, they're going to keep Ryan Reynolds, and I hear that they're not going to touch it. So I think they will have R. But if they have a crossover where they put Deadpool into other MCU movies, I think he's going to be toned down a little bit.
Right.
They're going to have to because they're not going to want to introduce him into their family-friendly stuff.
They did Once Upon a Deadpool last year, which made him
was
PG-13.
Still done, but that was done by Fox though before the sale had gone through and finalized. Right. But I think that was just a Christmas push. He can be toned down, yes,
and he's just as funny.
Oh, I agree.
No matter what Ryan Reynolds does. Anyway, we're down a tangent again. But Blade's going to be cool, regardless of what they choose to do with it. It will be dark. It sounds like so.
Definitely. I mean,
that's cool.
Vampires.
Yeah, super cool.
Jason Both says, I have 2, Black Widow and Fantastic Four.
Okay.
I'm a little less on the Black Widow. I'll see it for sure, but I'm a little less on that. But I'm definitely pumped, Jason, for Fantastic Four. I want to see Reed Richards and Sue and Johnny Storm and The Thing. I want to see it done. I want to see it done right. Plus, Reed Richards kind of can take over that mantle that Tony Stark kind of leaves behind. So that would make sense. Going over to Twitter, because we had a bunch of other spoilery things over there. The All Bros, at The All Bros, and this is Rose, says, not sure if this counts, but I'm most excited for the Hawkeye series. I love Jeremy Renner and can't wait to see him again along with Kate Bishop.
Does Rose know it's animated?
I don't know.
Because we're not going to see Jeremy Renner. If it was Jeremy Renner really reprising his role, I would be excited because I did begin to care about his character in Endgame and Infinity War and his arc there. But
yep. Bernabe Butterteeth at Dante's _Belmont, which real quick, I did give Bernabe that nickname just like a week ago, and he changed his Twitter handle and his Discord handles and everything.
Okay.
Real quick story. He'd gone to the dentist and he'd got like a teeth cleaning or something, and he said that his teeth were really smooth now. And I said, well, I hope they're smooth like butter, ... but not the color of butter. And then someone else said, like, I hope they're not, like, soft like butter. And I was like, oh, Bernabe butter teeth. Yeah, I hope they're not like that. And everyone started laughing at the whole Bernabe butter teeth thing. And then this one person, I guess, was kind of, like, disgusted just thinking of having teeth made of butter.
Yeah.
And we started laughing. And then I was like, dude, you got to change your name to Bernabe butter teeth. Because that's just too funny. So anyway, Bernabe Butterteeth at Dante's _Belmont says, Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
and he posted the picture of the title Thor: Love and Thunder, which, by the way, kind of looks like the artwork that they used for the old Thundercats logo. It just really reminds me of that. And then later he says, "Let me update," and then he posted new artwork of Thor: Love and Thunder that kind of is reminiscent of some of the early Star Wars artwork, just with the style. Anyway, real cool there. I get that totally.
Yeah.
Network-newbie at dspin67. This is Derek, good friend of the podcast, super friend. He says Blade.
There you go. Blade was a big winner.
Yep. Fantastic Baylor Queen at Fantastic Baylor says, "I'm excited for these." And then he dropped a picture of 4 things: Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, Loki, and Thor: Love and Thunder. So 3 of the Disney Plus and 1 movie. So all good picks there. And then Word Salad Radio at Word Salad Radio says Blade.
Man.
So once again,
the big winner.
Yeah, I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder and Blade got a lot of good press from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's a lot of things there that I kind of went, ooh, yes.
Yeah, this will be fun.
I'm excited to see this. So, anyway, we were able to kind of jump back and do that since we've just got done talking about this. So, Comic-Con was a big thing, obviously. It comes every year. We get all these announcements, lots of movies. You know, we get lots of TV show announcements. There's a lot more things that we weren't going to be able to cover. The podcast would be 7 hours long if we tried to cover everything in any great detail. But I would say if any of the stuff we talked about looks interesting to you, go check it out. There's a lot of coverage. There's, some trailers you can see. Obviously, there's the Top Gun Maverick one that I missed. There's the Picard one and the Star Trek stuff. I mean, there's...
Cats.
Don't know. Just no. Just don't watch that one. You'll be okay, I promise. Unless you're really a cat aficionado, maybe.
No, you gotta be more than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're borderline crazy about cats, then maybe go see that. Yeah. Otherwise, you can ignore it. But there was a ton of stuff. So, yeah, this is hard because I think this is going to be a really, really hard question. So last week the question was, what are the thing you're most looking forward to in Phase 4 of the MCU? But maybe this week we should ask the question, what was your favorite thing you saw from all of Comic-Con?
Yeah, good question.
So let's make that. So Matt, I'll start with you and then I'll go. What was your favorite thing you saw from Comic-Con of everything you saw?
My favorite thing at Comic-Con was Top Gun. That was my favorite thing. The Marvel stuff I expected announcements. And Top Gun I knew was coming. I mean, I'd heard rumors and stuff, but it was cool to see it. It was cool to see Tom Cruise. It was cool to, I don't know. I felt like there weren't as many surprises and things I was interested in as there have been in years past.
Okay.
So Top Gun is going to top the list for me.
Nice. For me, it's kind of a toss-up. And it's not any of the Marvel stuff, which kind of surprised me because I thought it would be. Because there was some shocks and some surprises there. But there was, like you said, there was a lot of things we kind of knew was coming. But for me, it's a toss-up between the Picard trailer, which looks really, really good and makes me really want this thing, and the Witcher trailer, because like I said, I'm re-listening to The Eye of the World, the first book in the Wheel of Time, and I love fantasy stuff, and I love things that kind of have that setting, and I haven't read any of these books, and I have not played the video game, but just watching this trailer makes me wish I was all up in that world right now. Yeah. And so, I think it's a toss up between those two, but I may actually lean, just because of the unknown, a little more towards The Witcher.
Cool.
So, anyway, cool. Super Friends, that's our question to you this week. What was the one thing, if you had to pick just one, what was the one thing from Comic-Con that was your favorite thing, your standout moment. Let us know at all those usual places. We will put the question of the week out this weekend, and you can get us those answers, and we will talk about them next week when Matt and I return once again.
Woohoo!
So Matt, officially, welcome to the podcast once again, and this is the start of many more to come.
Absolutely.
Well, from all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you. Always.